Boy, where do we start? Seahawks win 31-17 in Pittsburgh to go to 1-1. This is our immediate reaction. Candace is on the road right now, so I'm gonna give my initial thoughts. The game literally ended, I don't know, 2, 3 minutes ago. Again, Seahawks win 31-17 with the assistance of rookie running back Caleb Johnson, the Steelers running back draft pick out of Iowa, who made one of the most bonehead plays on special teams that I think I've ever seen. Touching the ball in the landing zone, ball rolls into the end zone. Seahawks recover, score a touchdown. Caleb Johnson made no effort to recover that ball. Clearly didn't understand the rules. Let's see, where do we start? I think the Seahawks were lucky to come out with a win. I know there's going to be a lot of positive energy uh, after this game. I still think this is a 7, 6, 7, maybe 8 win team, but it feels good to win the game. Sam Darnold goes 22 for 33, 295, two touchdowns, two picks. I would say Darnold was took us on a roller coaster. We saw the good and bad again, just like week one of Sam Darnold. He did some bonehead things. He certainly his pass in the fourth quarter to JSN was a beautiful pass, great play call as well. Props to Clint Kubiak on that one. But Sam Darnold to me is not taking us anywhere, despite the decent game today. Canine was a revelation. 13 for 105, 8.1 yard average. He did score a touchdown. He had that tremendous run at the end of the game on the toss sweep that Pittsburgh was not anticipating, but Keenan looked explosive. I think this is an example of why I say Kenneth Walker is more talented than Zach Charbonnet is. I think he has more ability. I just don't know how you fit him into a outside zone scheme. It's pretty clear that the Seahawks are trying to get him the ball on very quick hitting type plays, not your standard outside zone runs. I think they see that as his skill set. Charbonnet went 15 carries for 10 yards. Now, running outside zone against the Steelers offense, or excuse me, Steelers defense, is not necessarily a recipe for success. I know that people like to talk about the outside zone scheme, being able to work against any type of defense and against loaded fronts, but the Steelers have a lot of speed side to side. Patrick Queen is a very fast inside linebacker and was able to track down side to side, sideline to sideline. And so the scheme that Charbonnet thrives in wasn't working in this game. AJ Barner was the only other one with the carry, one carry, 2 yards. That was on a kind of quarterback sneak type thing. Cooper Kupp, I need to address. I said he was washed all offseason. I said he was washed after last week. He looked like a kind of what I think is the best version of what we may get from Cooper Kupp. 7 receptions, 90 yards, 9 targets. I don't know how many first downs he had, but he was pretty clutch. And he was able to get just enough separation to be a factor. If this is who we get from Cooper Kupp moving forward, I think that he's a huge contributor. I do think that, once we go back and look, teams are scheming towards JSN's side. At this point, JSN goes 8 for 103 on 10 targets, along a 43. That catch at the end of the game in it was very, very clutch. JSN is, becoming a wide receiver one. I'm not ready to call him a superstar. I think you may be able to start calling him a star, but JSN has been incredibly consistent for this team, and this team is lucky to have him. Torrey Horton, excuse me, showed flashes. Certainly, he had a touchdown on his first NFL reception in the first quarter. He looked explosive on punt returns. I think the Seahawks have something in Horton. If he can stay healthy, he is definitely has the caliber to become a wide receiver too. I'm very excited about him. Elijah Arroyo had two catches for 31 yards on three targets. He looked fast, caught one off of play action from Darnold, and showed his speed. Arroyo's going to be an asset moving forward. AJ Barner, 2 for 26. Kenneth Walker, 1 for 13. Defensively, Ernest Jones had 10 tackles. Tyrese Knight had eight. There were a couple times where Knight missed some tackles, but I think both linebackers looked very good. Byron Murphy, the second, may have been the defensive MVP in this game. You saw him in the Steelers' backfield all game long. Five tackles, two solo, 1.5 sacks, one tackle for loss, three quarterback hits. This is the Byron Murphy that we drafted. This is the Byron Murphy that we were thinking we had last year, but he looked phenomenal in this game. The D line in general, I think, really played well, and it gives us reason for optimism moving forward. So, again, the Seahawks win. I think there were some huge positives to take out of this game. Statistically, certainly, K9, and if we can figure out how to pair the running game with K9 and Charbonnet to set them both up to succeed, that's going to be something, that's going to be a difficult running game to stop. I'm not ready to say Sam Darnold is even average. I think was up and down in this game. He put up numbers, but I maintain, as I said last week or on the last pod with Candace, that he's a point guard at best. He needs to be a distributor. And if he doesn't have stars or, above average players to distribute the ball to, he's not going to show up. He's not going to be good. And on a day like today, JSN showed up. Certainly. Cooper Kupp looked decent. Torrey Horton showed his talent. And K9 was able to run the ball. So, I think Darnold's success is going to be predicated on the talent around him and not on Darnold's arm. He also made um, a couple of plays that just looked like the old Sam Darnold. Now, from a team statistic standpoint, the Seahawks had 278 yards passing total. It's because you have to back out the sack yards to the Steelers 195. Seahawks had 21 first downs to the Steelers 13. The Seahawks were 6 of 14 on third down, which is a lot better than they were last week. Seahawks run the ball for 117 yards on 4 yards a carry. Only two penalties as well. So from an execution standpoint, the team looked better, right? I wouldn't say the team looked great. There were plenty of times where this team did not execute. Uh, Certainly, the missed field goal wasn't great. Leaving Abe Lucas on an island in the fourth quarter against TJ Watt was not great on two straight plays. Lucas was left one-on-one with TJ Watt and was burnt. I maintain he's not an average right tackle in this league. We signed him to an extension. I wouldn't have done it between his health and his play when he's healthy. To me, he's not an asset. He's somebody I think the Seahawks may want to try to get replaced at some point in time. Um, the play calling was up and down. The play calling in that last drive where Seattle surprised the Steelers with the throw to JSN, where Seattle surprised the Steelers with the toss sweep to K9. Those play calls were great. I give Kubiak all the credit in the world for those play calls. But there was a lot of passing when I felt like they should have been trying to establish the run in the first half. The Steelers D line began to chase Darnold regardless of whether they thought the ball was going to be handed off or not. And so play action wasn't working. Specifically, on the bootleg type stuff, that was clear that the defensive players were coached to go after Darnold and to not bite. Um, so play action was a lot less effective as the Steelers realized what was going on. And then Lucas as well, I should add, was burnt by Jack Sawyer on second and goal and potentially was pushing the Seahawks team closer towards, a longer field goal until K9 was able to score on that toss sweep. So, some of the negatives, like I said, Darnold is not my quarterback. I don't think Darnold is taking us anywhere. Um, Cooper Kupp, I want to see it. for multiple games. I want to see him be that third down possession receiver. Uh, Abe Lucas is bad. He looked really bad in this game to me. Now we'll see how he grades out as we look at more film. We'll see what he looks like. The D line looked phenomenal. This defense looks to me like a top five defense, maybe even better. No Witherspoon today. Julian Love coming off of an injury, and they still look good. Now, Reek Woolen needs some help. Reek Woolen, there were a couple of different plays in this game where Reek Woolen looked like a head case again, right? And he certainly was getting out physical by DK Metcalf. Now, that's not it's hard to criticize someone for being out physical by DK, but you're there because of your physical skill, right? That is the if you said what is the number one characteristic or best characteristic of Reek Woolen as a cornerback, it's his physical attributes. And on two different plays, he was beasted essentially by DK. Um, I don't trust Reek. I will continue to say that if the Seahawks had a more consistent, maybe lower ceiling, but more consistent CB2 across from Witherspoon, that would be a better setup for the Seahawks. I don't know. There's nothing they can really do about that, as Candace has said, this year, I don't think, unless you believe that Job is that guy. But all in all, this team looked pretty good. Um, I think, like I said, I think they got a bit lucky with the Caleb Johnson mishap on special teams. They got a little lucky in that uh, Darnold threw two picks um, and still won. They got a little lucky and they couldn't establish the running game with Zach Charbonnet and still were able to run the ball a bit. But a win is a win. And this is a game where I expected this team to lose coming into the season. I certainly expected this team to lose once I saw that Witherspoon wasn't playing, and they happened to get the win. Now, how much of this win is the Steelers not being very good? Aaron Rodgers is a shell of his former self. Their running game looked okay, but they don't have any dynamic players in the running game. They expect Caleb Johnson to be that eventually. Jalen Warren is not great. Um, he's more of a third down type back. Keith Gainwell was certainly a third down type back with the Philadelphia Eagles before he came over to the Steelers. You don't have a ton of wide receiver talent besides DK Metcalf on this team. So, offensively, they're not great. They're not going to score a ton of points. On the defensive side, they are pretty good. But the Seahawks were lucky enough to face a Steelers defense without Joey Porter, Highsmith, their other edge player across from TJ Watt, who is a very, very good player, went out really early in this game. So, I think what do we take away from this? The Seahawks are now 1-1. Do you think they're any better than you did coming into this game? Slightly, I do. I don't think they're a playoff team. I don't think they're winning more than 8 games. I don't believe in Sam Darnold. Um, but it does feel good to get a win as a Seahawks fan. And I'm excited to dig a little bit deeper into this game and to see uh, see what I didn't see in my initial watch. So thanks for listening. Candace, I believe, will be back soon here. We will record, either she and I or myself will record a preview for the upcoming Seahawks game. But thanks for listening. Super excited that the Seahawks won today, and go